Hello and welcome everyone. So this is our last topic in the design of compression members, and just as we have studied about tension splice, there is column splice, and here we connect two pieces of compression member sections to get the required length of column, and it is basically used in multi-story buildings. So it looks similar to the tension splice, and there is flange splice and bevel splice as we have seen in the tension splices. So they are used for lengthening the length of the column members, okay, and they are basically used to connect the columns from one story to another story. So that's why column splice is used in most of the cases. And then comes the base of these compression members, because when these columns transfer the entire loads of the structure, then it has to be placed on footings. But in steel structures, we don't create here footings, we create here base. So there are two types of base of columns, and one is the slab base and other is the gusseted base. So what is the function of this bases of the columns is that they transfer the entire compressive load as well as the load coming from the structure to the RCC foundations, alright. And RCC foundation is constructed with the usual method as you have learned. Above this RCC foundation we use a base plate, and this base plate has some thickness, and it is of course of steel grade Fe415, and it is being connected with this column, this base plate, with the help of some cleat angles, and these cleat angles are connected with this column through bolted connection shown here, and there is some J bolts also being used here, and the J bolts connect the cleat angle to the base plate, and this J bolt is also casted beneath this RCC foundation. So these are the A and B projection, which is generally kept equal in most of the cases in slab base. So slab base is generally used when there is normal loading conditions coming on the column. But what happens, sometimes there is huge loading coming through the compression member, and for those columns carrying heavy loads we use gusseted base, and in this type of base we transfer the load with the help of gussets and additional cover plates also if required. So in gusseted base the column is connected to base plate through gussets, okay, and the load is transferred to the base partly through bearing and partly through gussets. So in this figure you can see the gusseted base plate, and this is the elevation view, okay, front view. So this is my column section, alright, and this is my gusset, and this which you are seeing is the angle section, okay. So here are three different members being used, and if you see their side view, then you see this is the column main members, okay, and then you see the gusset plates also. Gusset plate is increasing the width of the column to this much value, alright, and this gusset plate is finally welded with a unequal angle section, and this angle section is finally connecting this column with the base plate, okay. So the base is here, and cleat angles are also used here, and you can see these are the cleat angles. And if you would like to see the cross sectional views, so this is the diagram for cross sectional view, and from top if you cut this column member, you will get this view. Here you can see this is column section, and then there is another two lines. These two lines represent the gusset plate, and then this line represents the angles top view. Okay, and then this is the projection. So this is how gusseted plate looks like. So let us try to see the design of slab base. What are the design steps behind the design of slab base? So slab base consists of finding the size and thickness of slab base, and in the procedure given below, it is assumed that the pressure is distributed uniformly under the slab base. So the entire load which is coming through the compression member is being distributed by the slab base over the RCC foundation, and we know that the bearing strength of concrete, bearing strength means what? Compressive strength basically. Okay, compressive strength of concrete is given by 0.45 FCK. Okay, so the area of base plate required will be equal to factored load upon this capacity. Alright, area of base plate will be equal to PU divided by 0.45 FCK, and PU should be factored load, which is equal to 1.5 into working load. Now we have to select the size of base plate, and for economy we keep the projection A and B equal. Okay, A and B projections are kept equal. After doing the sizing of the base plate, now we have to calculate the thickness of base plate, and there are formulas. First of all, let us calculate what is the intensity of pressure which is going to be exerted on the RCC foundation, and this is represented by W, and small w is equal to PU divided by area of the base plate. Okay, PU is the factored load and divided by area of base plate, and W will be surely less than the capacity, bearing capacity, which is equal to 0.45 FCK. Alright, because we have chosen little larger area of base plate, so that the W value will become less than the bearing capacity for concrete. And the minimum thickness required is being given by this formula. Now this formula is taken from the IS code directly, and this is empirical formula, and this is being used here, and you can directly see this formula be in the IS code. And here thickness of base plate is represented by TS is equal to root under. Now root under you are not seeing this is root under 0.5 power. Okay, so that means under root 2.5 W. What is this W? This is W into A square minus 0.3 B square. A and B are the projections, and multiplied by gamma MO, which is equal to 1.1, divided by Fy, which is yield stress, generally equal to 250 megapascal, and it should be greater than thickness of flange. Okay, thickness of flange for the compressive member, and this formula is being calculated with the help of plate theory, so that is not of much use. And then we have to do connections, and in connections it is being recommended by IS code that we connect the base plate to foundation concrete using 4 M20 bolts and 300 mm long anchor bolts. Now anchor bolt is the J bolt which I was showing you there. The J bolt looks like this. Okay, so this is the anchor bolt which is anchored in the RCC foundation also. And if bolted connection is to be used for connecting column to base plate, use 2 Indian standard angle 65 into 65 6 mm thick angle with M20 bolts. And if weld is to be used for connecting column to base, check the weld length of fillet welds. So these are the recommendations for connection. And let us do a small numerical on design of slab base. So in the numerical, it is being asked to design a slab base for a column which is Indian standard heavy beam 300 height at the rate 577 Newton per meter. This is the weight per unit length, carrying an axial factored load PU is equal to 1000 kilonewton, and M20 concrete is used for the foundation. Provide welded connection, not the bolted connection, between the column and base plate. So now let us calculate the bearing capacity for M20 concrete, and bearing capacity of concrete is equal to 0.45 fck. This is taken from IS 456. Okay, and bearing strength of concrete is 9 Newton per mm square. Now what should be the area required for the base plate? If the factored load PU is 1000 kilonewton, so area of base plate can be calculated when we divide PU by 0.45 fck, and this much area is required for the base plate. So we take this size. Now why we take this size? Because we are going to make a base plate, and if you see the top view of base plate, it will look like this. Okay, this is a rectangular shape, and what should be the length and breadth of this plate? So if you draw the top view diagram of the angle section or the column here, which is of I beam, and I beam is ISHB 300, that means this much length is 300. So if you check the width of flange for this steel section from the steel table, width of flange, this is equal to 250. All right. So of course we can guess that length and breadth of this plate will be greater than 250 into 300. So as we have discussed that the projection which is A and B, now A is this, okay, and B is this. So A and B should be equal. So we can assume that A is equal to B is equal to 30. Now why we are assuming this? Because when we do this, then the area of plate comes out to be 360 into 310, and when you multiply this, you get 111,600 millimeter square, which is obviously greater than area of base plate required. So this value, area provided, is this, which is greater than area of base plate required. So we can go for this dimension of base plate. Now when we use this size base plate, then the pressure which is going to come on the RCC foundation can be calculated by PU by area, and this is 8.96, which is less than the bearing capacity of the M20 concrete. Okay. Now projections, as we have discussed, that they are taken to be 30 mm. A and B value is equal to 30 mm here, and we take the projection in such a way that it is equal, both are equal. So let us now calculate the thickness of the base plate, which is given by this empirical formula, root under 2.5 into W. Now W is this 8.96 being used here, into A square minus 0.3 B square, okay, into gamma MO. Gamma MO is equal to 1.1 divided by Fy. Fy is 250 megapascal, and this 0.5 means root under. So thickness of base plate comes out to be 7.88 mm. So basically here we provide 12 mm thick plate. Why we have taken this much thick plate? Because the thickness of flange it should be greater than thickness of flange. It is also given in the formula. And thickness of flange for ISHB 300 is 10.6 mm. Now we have to take the thickness of base plate greater than this value, TF. Although TS comes out to be 7.88 mm. So that's why we have taken 12 mm thick plate, which is having the thickness greater than the thickness of flange for the compression member here. So this much thick plate is used, and finally we can conclude that we are going to connect 360 into 310 into 12 mm plate to concrete foundation, which is made of RCC. And as suggested, it should be connected with 4 bolts of 20 mm diameter and 300 mm long to anchor the plates. Now, if we are going to use welded connection, okay, so in this case total length available for welding can be calculated. If you see this diagram, how much total length for welding is available? If you check this diagram, we can do welding here 250 mm into 250 mm, okay, and then this 300 mm. Add all these three values, and then you have to deduct this thickness value, because this 10.6 here it has to be deducted, this 10.6 again it has to be deducted from 300, and from this 250 this value, this thickness has to be deducted twice, all right, or at least once only. So that's why we have written here total length available for welding is 2 into, because we are going to do the welding twice. You see this welding being done here, all this along this, and then this, and this and this. So this much length now we have to calculate. So if you see, we are going to multiply 2 because we have considered only one side. If you consider only one side, so you can write here 250 plus 250 and minus 7.6, and this is also multiplied by 2 plus 300 minus 2 into 10.6, and all this value is finally being multiplied by 2, and we can check this is the total length available for welding. Now the strength of welding is calculated by this formula, and this is the strength of weld, and if we assume S to be the size of weld, and then the effective area of weld will be 0.7 times size of weld into effective length. Why we have multiplied here 0.7 with the size of weld? To get the effective throat thickness, TE. So here the design condition is equal to, this is the effective area of weld. Effective area of weld is equal to effective throat thickness into effective length, and effective throat thickness is equal to 0.7 times size of weld, and effective length is assumed to be LE, and this is the strength of weld 189.37, and it should be equal to the load, factored load, which is going to come. So finally this is the equation which is coming, and if we take 6 mm size weld, that means S value is equal to 6 mm, then LE value will come out to be 1257 millimeter. And if we return, provide end returns, so we have to do deduction of end returns also, and that is equal to minus 2 times the size of weld into number of returns. So there are 12 number of returns, and if we do all those, so we come out to be 1398.4, which is greater than 1257 millimeter. So this is required length of weld that we have to do, but here we are doing this much welding, and even if we subtract the end returns to get the effective length, because effective length is equal to actual length of weld minus 2s. Now how many times of returns you are doing, that you also have to multiply and deduct that value. So there are 12 returns here, and you can count all the returns here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. All these end returns you have to count. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12. That's why 12 times 2s you have to subtract from the actual length to get the effective length, and this is greater than the required effective length of weld. So that's what we want. So that's why we provide 6 mm weld in this case of slab base. All right. So this is how we design a slab base. Now if we discuss of the design of gusseted base, again in this case also we use gusset plates here along with angle cleats, stiffeners and fastenings. And here also area of base plate required will be equal to factored load divided by 0.45 FCK, similar to the slab base. And thickness of gusset plate is assumed to be 16 mm. Now this is the recommendation given in the IS code, and you can remember this. And then size of gusset angle is assumed such that its vertical leg can accommodate 2 bolts in one vertical line. Corresponding to this leg, the other leg is assumed in which 1 bolt can be provided. And finally, the thickness of angle is kept approximately equal to the thickness of gusset plate. And thickness of gusset plate is 16 mm. So the thickness of angle section should also be equal to 14 mm, 15 mm, 16 or 18, like that. Now width of gusset base is kept such that it will just project outside the gusset angle, and hence length can be calculated, which will be equal to area of plate divided by width. Then when the end of column is machined, for this you can read, and the thickness of base plate is computed by flexural strength at the critical sections. So you can see in this case of here it is being asked to design a gusseted base for a column of ISHB 350 with 2 plates. Now these 2 plates are the cover plates here, which are attached with the I section ISHB 350, and these cover plates have width equal to 450 mm and thickness equal to 20 mm, carrying a factored load of 3600 kilonewton. This is value of PU here. And the column is to be supported on concrete pedestal to be built with M20 concrete. So here FCK is 20 Newton per mm square, and area required in this case will be equal to almost 400,000 millimeter square for the base plate. And now we have selected ISA this angle 115 to 115 and 15 mm angle and 16 mm thick gusset plate. So this is our selection. Okay, this we have selected to connect this ISHB 350 compression member, which is having cover plates, with the base plate. And so we have chosen one gusset plate of 16 mm thickness and one angle section of this much dimensions, and this connection is being done like this. Now if you see here, this is my column main member, and this is the cover plate. All right, and then there is gusset plate, and then there is angle section. Okay, and these are the cleat angles. Similarly, in the cross-sectional view, you can see all the dimensions here shown as. One is the main ISHB 350, and this is the 20 mm cover plates, and then there is 16 mm gusset plate, and then there is angle section. So there are total 4 members here being connected with these bolts. You see these bolts, and from the front view this gusseted base looks like this. Here this is the column which is connected with a cover plate, and column plus cover plate is connected with a gusset plate, and they are connected with an angle section, and there are multiple bolts being used here for the connection. Now minimum width required can be calculated here from using this angle section, since this is 115 mm, because we have chosen such a angle section ISA 150 into 115 into 15 mm. So this total width, minimum width required, is calculated, and it is equal to 350 mm. 350 is the height of ISHB 350, plus 2 into 20 for the base plate cover plates, and then there is 2 into 16 for the 2 gusset plates, and plus 2 into 115 for 2 angle sections for connection with the base slab. This comes out to be 652 millimeter, so that's why we have chosen 700 millimeter wide plate. And if we have this much width of the plate, so we can calculate the length of the base plate, and it will be equal to area required by the width, and this comes out to be 571. So that's why we have chosen here 700 into 600 millimeter size base plate. Now pressure can be calculated, and it will be equal to Pu divided by area of the base plate, and it is equal to 8.57 Newton per mm square, which is less than the bearing capacity of the concrete. And A value projection can be calculated here. It is equal to 124 mm, and then there are bending moments being calculated along x-x section and y-y section, and we can draw this diagram like this. If you see, this is my D value, where D is 652 millimeter, and it is being loaded with a constant pressure which we have just now calculated, 8.57 Newton per mm square, and this is the P by 2 and P by 2, the factored load coming here is shown, and we have calculated bending moment at this x-x section and y-y section. And now after doing these bending moments calculation, we have seen that out of these two moments, this moment is maximum. So we have to design our section for this value of moment, because this is more critical value, because this is the maximum out of both of these two. So we have to design our section in such a way that it can resist the severest kind of load that is going to come on it. So design moment becomes 1,06,482 Newton per mm, and bending strength is equal to 250 by gamma mo, which is equal to 227 Newton per mm square, and this we have equated with the moment of resistance to the bending moment, and here comes out to be thickness equal to 48.4 mm. So that's why we have used 56 mm base plate of size 700 into 600 mm. So this is how we determine the size of the base plates, okay. And then we have just determined the number of bolts that has to be connected through these base plates, and as we can see that the design load which is going to come will be the only for the 50% of axial load for the connections, and load on each splice will be even half of that 50%, which is now 900 kilonewton. And if we use M24 bolts, so strength of bolt in shear is this value, and the strength in bearing is even higher than this. So that's why we have chosen single shear strength of bolt only as the strength of one bolt. Now the number of bolts required will be the total load going to come on the connection divided by strength of one bolt, and it is equal to 13.8. So we can round it off, and then we can finalize that we are going to use 16 bolts here for connecting column to the gusset plate and use another 8 bolts to connect the cleat angle to gusset plate. So this is basically being done after you have got much experience on the design of the base like this. So generally this type of question is not being asked, as it involves a lot of assumptions and experience also. So this is how we deal with the compression members, and we have discussed everything related with compression members. And mostly the syllabus of GATE is also limited to the design of compression member, and a little bit is being asked from the design beams basically, which we will be discussing in the coming videos also. So we will meet there only. So stay tuned and stay safe. Thank you.